What is up? Are you out there and you're struggling because you're trying to be everything to everyone as an entrepreneur? Or are you just wrung out and not making progress on your own goals because you're saying yes to everybody else's goals? You're in the right place. What
What's
is
up,
up?
everyone? Yeah, we're doing, every Wednesday we're going to come at you live in effect, giving you the tips, tricks, tools, hacks, new skills, techniques that's going to help you take massive action to achieve your goals, not just your business goals, but we like to focus. There's a very interconnectedness between you personally living your best life, living your fullest life, living up to your full potential, and how then that manifests itself into your business. So every Wednesday at 1 o'clock, we're going to come here talking about business and life transformation because they both are so interwoven and interconnected. Krystal, who are we and why are we doing this?
Well, see, first of all, we are entrepreneurs who know the struggle, right? When you're having a good week at work and you're slinging it in your business and you're killing it, are you not having a better week in your marriage, Jarvis?
Absolutely. They go hand in hand.
Right. And when you're killing it and you're having a fantastic marriage and your baby boy is just popping out and you're happiest as you've ever been, your heart's overflowing, are you not killing it in sales?
Man, I'm crushing it.
That's what I'm talking about. That's why we're doing this. Look, I'm Krystal Lindsey. I am 333 Krystal Lindsey, and I am here to really help you take control of your business. I have been coaching entrepreneurs and real estate agents on how to be able to take control of your online presence through video, social media, and other ways online. And now, as an actual online marketing consultant for Town Square Media, I have so many more tools in my toolbox. So I am just so excited to be here today. Jarvis, why don't you introduce yourself?
What's up, everyone? I am Jarvis, aka the Morning Hero. Not only am I a morning hero, I help build morning heroes. My tagline and my mission and goal in life is to help people get unstuck, get out of their own way, and get in the driver's seat to achieve more, achieve their goals, and take massive action to push their biggest priorities forward.
This is so good. Now, I want to say, why are we here today? We want to learn how to help you be you and gain lasting influence. But before we get into that, it's all built on that personal growth. So why don't you tell them why it always starts with you in order to be able to build that lasting influence, Jarvis?
Yeah, this is so key because this is one of the things that people are probably put down the lowest on their growth journey. They think they need to build up their skills, build up their acumen. They need to learn more or to achieve more. They need to run faster. But what they don't recognize is that all of that, it starts with you at the core. So this is based off of the last event that I did. Once a month, we do an event called the Accelerated Growth Club, where we talked about, how to be a better person, if you will. And the last Accelerated Growth Club we did last month, was about self-love and how to build that unshakable confidence, how to step out into your true greatness by first slowing down and starting with prioritizing yourself. And so it all starts with you. You are the foundation for everything that you will build, everything that you will create, everything that you will manifest. And you have to know and have to have some guiding principles and guidelines of how to make yourself the priority and truly, truly love and acknowledge and cherish yourself first, because that will then permeate into everything else you do. Do you not agree with that, Krystal?
This is so good because really, if you come down to it, the real problem is all in our heads, right? When you sit here and you think, well, if I could just make things happen, if I could just get up earlier, if I could just, inspire others, if I could just hit it hard, if I could just get on the phones and make 5 more calls a day, I would be living the life where I could afford the vacations for my family, right? But it's all, the problems are real, but they're real in your head. Walk us through this negative self-talk.
Yeah. So this one is probably one of the biggest things that people suffer with is they sabotage themselves before. There's not really any external factors that's preventing them from moving forward. It's all internal. It's all mental. It's all that voice, that evil gremlin that's inside of us, that's telling us, you're never going to do that. Oh, you're not, there's no way you can do that. Things never work out for you. Like, it's always this way. Like, we tend to become a victim of these labels that we give ourselves, right? And that prevents us from even doing and moving things forward that we normally would be a breeze for us. But we become a prisoner of the labels that we assign ourselves. So that negative self-talk is a big one, big way that people sabotage themselves.
Man,
And that
and
goes along with the self-judgment as well.
I was
Would
going
you
to
say
say
so?
that is exactly what I was going to say, is that negative self-talk is, if you said it once, right, you drop something on your toe and you said, oh, darn, that hurt. That's a once and you're done. Like, you just stubbed your toe. But that what's happening now is this habitual pattern where people go through their life, and every time they get hung up on, or every time somebody doesn't show up for an appointment, or every time something doesn't, work out, now all of a sudden they judge themselves as not good enough, right? That negative self-talk is pervasive and ongoing, right? Walk us through that and how that connects to self-doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. And this comes a lot with also projection. So we have a tendency to project what others will think, or what's going to happen. We have this we think we have superpowers where we can predict the future, or I can read people's minds. And so I'm not going to do this because I know you're thinking that you're going to judge me for this, and or I'm not going to do this because I know it won't work. We have this projection where we can project what's going to happen, or project what you think, and that stops us. That judgment, we create our own internal barriers, not really based on any truth, but just because of this projection of, what's going to happen or what won't happen, or, that stops us from moving forward. So that projection is a big hindrance for a lot of people.
Yeah, and there's actual real psychology behind this. With cognitive behavioral psychology, it's all about retraining your brain and how you think. And there's something called automatic negative thoughts, and I believe there's 7 different types of them. But one of this is predicting the future, and exactly what Jarvis just described, where you say, "Oh, you know what? I'm not even going to call that person because I know what they're going to say. They're going to say la 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 la," and so you just don't even pick up the phone. I know I've done it, and I consider myself a top sales professional. So if it's happening to me, it's happening to others, right? So you sit there and you say, oh, I'm going to go ask that girl out, right? But then you're like, oh, no, she's going to just say, you're not my type. So you don't even walk up there. Or you're going to say, oh, I'm going to launch this big product because this is what the world needs. Man, people aren't going to buy it. This is not even going to work out because, somebody else, Sony's going to come in and just patent it and just added it. People do this, and it's actual cognitive behavioral psychology where you can overcome automatic negative thoughts by stop predicting the future and actually allowing the future to move forward. And I love that it walks us right into the third point here, which is self-sabotage. Walk us through that, Jarvis.
Yeah, the self-sabotage really comes down to labeling. We have a tendency to assign labels, and those labels become truth. They are solidified, and we kind of manifest, and we actually become what it is that we label ourselves. And a good one is, a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm just not a morning person."
Mm.
Right. The minute I've assigned that label to myself, I've essentially sabotaged myself. I've imprisoned myself to now manifesting that and making that true. So now everything, my body language, like everything, uh, moves in that direction of what I've just assigned myself to. Or I'm just not good at remembering names. Well, I've labeled myself and essentially given myself an out, and I will no longer ever even try or attempt, because I've labeled myself and I'm creating that truth for myself. Well, what are some of the other labels that you can think of, Krystal, that people assign themselves that don't really serve them?
Yeah, I mean, this actually goes back to childhood, right? I remember, being a child, and if you're smart and you do good in school and you have good grades, you expect you're going to be able to understand the next assignment and do well on the next test. Whereas if you consistently struggle in school and you have a hard time, you expect to struggle on the next test, right? So it goes back to how we were bred in schools and how our teachers and parents talk to us. It's this ingrained thing that we tell ourselves. And what's really interesting is a little study here on how people use words. Like, for example, nervousness and excitement are almost the same feeling, right? You know that feeling, Jarvis? You're a phenomenal public speaker. He's rocking the stage. If you haven't been to Accelerated Growth Club, you need to check him out. When you're on stage and you're feeling excited, does it not feel the same as nervous if you mentally shift it, right?
Absolutely.
So there's a study that shows there was 3 groups of people who had to sing karaoke, and they were actually measured on the effectiveness of how the words they said and how it lined up to the song. One group of them said nothing, and they just went ahead and did their karaoke song. The second group said, I'm nervous, and then did their karaoke song. And the third one said, I'm excited, and then did their karaoke song. The numbers were tremendous. The actual group that said nothing were about 57% inaccurate. The group that said I'm nervous was in the low 40s, and the group that said I'm excited had 80-something% accuracy. So nervousness and excitement are almost the same, but if you label it to nervousness, you say, oh, I'm really nervous about this new appointment, you're less likely to be successful. If you say, oh, I'm really excited about this new appointment, you're more likely to be successful. So it really comes down to self-sabotaging and setting yourself up for success and saying the right things, for sure.
There's so much power in your words. And just to piggyback on that, just making those minor tweaks from, and this is what I do, and this is what I teach my students, is the minute you say something that doesn't serve you, I'm not a morning person, or I'm not good at accounting, I'm not good with the numbers. Like the minute you catch yourself, catch that label, and you replace it with, I'm getting better at X. So I'm not a morning person. You catch it and you say, no, I'm getting better at waking up earlier, or I'm getting better at remembering names. Just that small adjustment of adding those words, I'm getting better at, in front of the label makes a monumental difference, right? And so just to piggyback on what you were saying, that there's true power in your words, and most people don't even realize how they're using their own language to sabotage themselves before they've even gotten started.
Yeah, and this is so good, right? Word curses are real, right? Words are powerful, and when you say something, it is tremendous. My husband knows when we first got together, he was so tired of me hearing me say, stop saying that, because he would say, oh man, things are never working out. I was like, well, you're right. You're right then. He's like, what do you mean I'm right? I'm like, well, you just said it. It's going to happen that way. Things are never going. He's like, well, I want things to work out. Okay, then stop saying it, right? That was our first ongoing argument, but now, trust me, he's better with his words, right? Say what you want. There is power in that, but even more than that, there is power in your actions, right? So walk us through this action of actually saying no, right? When you say no, you're actually saying yes to something else. When you say yes, you're saying no to something else. How does this play out into people bettering themselves and falling in love with who they are?
Yeah, so this one is a big one. Being able to prioritize yourself first. So we get hung up on overcommitting to things. And oftentimes we put other people's intentions and agendas ahead of our own. So we can set out with all the right intentions in the world, but because we are too generous with our time, we let everyone else's agendas overcrowd ours, and then therefore it suffocates what we intend to do, and we never can get a chance to do the things that's going to push our goals forward. It's just like, when you're on an airplane, they always say, in the event of an emergency, you got to put your oxygen mask on first before you start tending to others. We're out here trying to put everyone else's oxygen mask on before we've done taking care of ourselves. What's happening is we're not feeding ourselves with enough fuel and motivation to really push our own agendas forward. So our inability to say no is actually draining us from saying yes to what we want to push forward. And I think that many people will find that they find themselves in that category where they're servicing and satisfying everyone else. Meanwhile, they're completely drained. They've got nothing left in the tank, and they just don't have it in them to push their own agendas forward.
Yeah, this was my life. If you've been following me over the last couple of years, I've been talking 333, for years now. But after, a near-death experience and I had 14 clients and 4 full-time employees, and on my deathbed, I lost half my clients, right? And it was because of a bad hire. They all said he was lazy or whatever they said. You know, it was like, the reality is it affected me, and I had to push hard to get out of that. And I had to learn to walk again, you know, after 8 blood transfusions. You talk about burnout. I mean, I pushed myself so hard, and I got back to the point where, guess what? Everybody else was happy but me. And I had to really look in the mirror and realizing that while I was saying yes to everybody else and my clients were happy and my husband's happy because dinner's on the table and lunch is made and, you know, everybody else in my life was happy, I had to take care of what was my burning desire inside of me. And I think that that really leads perfectly to this last, you know, little bullet point on this is burnout. You know, I faced, you know, the burnout was real, and having to really realize what was my yearning, my passion, what was speaking to me inside of me was the fact that I want to give back to people and from foster care, being a former foster youth myself. It did something I quit talking about. I quit being involved in, I quit caring about, but that was something that's very real to me. Right. So what are your advice in terms of overcoming this burnout when you catch yourself in this dark hole because you've said yes to everybody else and everybody else is happy and you've got all this judgment and self-sabotage and negative talk and you're just burnt out and it feels like you're walking through water? What do you have to do?
Yeah, so if you go to the next slide, we'll walk through some of the different ways that we can combat some of these problems. So the first thing we do is when you want to kill the monster while it's a baby, and the monster is the negative voice. It's the negative self-talk. It's that little gremlin that's always shouting judgment and criticism at yourself. And it's so important. It's those voices start as whispers. It starts as, hey, gosh, I don't even know why you're going to the gym. You're big boned. You're built this way. You're never gonna, you can't lose 10 pounds. Or, gosh, I don't even know why you're even making these phone calls. No one's gonna sign up for your service. Like if they start off as, you know, little whispers, right? When they go unmatched, when they get louder and louder and louder until they become you, until are defined by them. You have to kill it while it's a baby before it becomes this full blown out prison that you're living in. So the way that you do that is first you have to be cognizant and aware of the voice. So you hear the voice, the minute you hear that little self-criticism, that self-judgment, that self-doubt, you have to first squash it and combat it with the truth, or combat it with a more positive affirmation of what you want the truth to be. So, gosh, I don't even know why I'm making these phone calls. No one's ever going to really sign up for my service. You gotta squash it, catch it first, squash it, and then replace it with what you want the truth to be. What affirmative statement of truth. You know what? People are going to be excited that I'm calling them to offer them this opportunity. Oh gosh, I don't know why I'm even going for this run. You know, it's pointless. My knees hurt. So you got to squash it while it's a baby, and replace it with, you know what? I'm going for this run. I'm excited to go for this run because I'm going to feel healthy, wholesome, and it's going to bring light to my day. So the first thing is you have to, as soon as you hear that voice, you have to kill it. You have to squash it while it's still a whisper and replace it with something that's more affirmative to the truth that you want to live.
No, this is so good, Jarvis. So I've been part of his morning calls here. If you guys haven't learned about this morning call, you got to learn about it. It's all about getting spoon-fed your accountability to break through on the biggest things that are important to you. I was able to write my entire book, 30 minutes a day, because of this morning program. And what he does is he spoon feeds you daily wisdom. And one of the daily wisdoms I remember you gave us, a daily challenge, was to write down our negative thoughts as we went through our day, and then figure out and replace it with an affirming statement of a role model, somebody we believe in. And so it was like, you know, if as I'm realizing my self-judgment of like, you know, I'm never going to make it. Who's going to listen to me as a public speaker? Who's going to pay me to speak? How am I going to make a living out of this? You know, that's what you think when you're first starting out, right? And then all of a sudden my statement of working with Jarvis was, well, if Oprah Winfrey can get up there and build a multi-million, billion-dollar business, then so can I. And it was such an empowering statement. statement, to really step into that and own it based on somebody I admire. So Jarvis, you have all these nuggets of wisdom and challenges to walk us through it. So again, if you haven't done the morning program, get with him. You need it. So walk us through here as we're coming into the second one, how to prioritize yourself, right? This goes hand in hand with what you were just saying.
Yeah. This is where a lot of people get stuck, is because they find that they don't really have time for themselves. Their entire day, their entire calendar is servicing other people's priorities, that their own priorities get pushed to the back corner, get suffocated. And then the worst that happens is that over time they lose that momentum, they lose that motivation, and they never fully pursue it. And so this idea of making yourself a priority is one that a lot of people struggle with. It all comes down to setting boundaries. Your ability to set boundaries so that you can still have time to invest in yourself, invest in your own dream, invest in your vision, invest in your path. Like, that's what it all comes down to, is you have to be able to set boundaries. And so that quite simply, that's knowing what to say yes to and what to say no to. One, you have to fully understand what are your priorities? What are the things that you will say yes to? What is your vision? What are the goals that you're going after? Now, when you fully understand that helps you, gives you a filter to understand the things that come across your plate on a daily basis, of things that you could work on, things you could do. Does it align with where I'm headed? Does it align with my vision? Does it align with the priorities that I've established for myself? If it does, man, that's something that I can commit to. And so the first step is you got to truly understand what is your vision and align with it every day, so that now you have a better filter to decide, to make decisions on what to focus on and what not to focus on. And then the other part of that is the things that don't align with that vision of yours. It's okay not to say yes. It's okay to say no to things. It's not the end of the world if you can't go to someone's birthday brunch when you have a big project that's really, what you're passionate about and you're working on. It's okay to say no to the things that don't serve your vision. And we get stuck in this idea that they're not going to like me anymore, or I don't want to let people down. This is what it really comes down to. When you say yes to something, at the end of the day, you're also saying no to something else.
Mm-hmm.
When you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to something else. So you have to make the decision, is saying yes to this more important than me saying yes to this over here? So first, you have to truly, truly get in alignment with what is your vision for yourself? What are the things that's most important to you? And the things that don't serve that, the things that's not in alignment, that take away from your ability to walk in this direction, you have to really be comfortable in setting that boundary and say, hey, you know what? Unfortunately, I love you. I really appreciate this opportunity to do this with you. But unfortunately, I've got this over here that I gotta pay attention, that this is a non-negotiable for me. I hope you understand. And that ability to set those boundaries now gives you total freedom to run full steam towards your own objectives and ambitions.
Yeah, absolutely. You said it so well, and really outlining the exact steps. Special shout out to my friend Carly and the script she gave me. This is something I struggle with, is saying no to people. I'm a people pleaser, recovering people pleaser, I'd like to say, as I catch my self-judgment and labels here.
There you go.
Is that this is the script, folks. If you struggle with it, this is what you say. I know you need someone to X, but I'm not that person. And then you could tell them and all the reasons why and how you care about them and how you want to be successful, whatever. But make sure you lead with why that you are not that person. And then, of course, you could also switch it up to what Jarvis is saying is, I know I agreed to X, but I'm not going to be able to be that person. and then again outline why. So really, really great job. I love how you're emphasizing here that you have to actually look at us on the screen. See that? That's us live. But yeah, the third principle here is that you need to really be able to know your greatness. Because when I was stuck in 333 and just doing social media, and I now looking back was a one-trick pony, you know, I knew there was a greater calling that was put on me. And yes, my clients were happy. And yes, it was profitable. And yes, I was living the life at the U Club in San Diego and all this stuff. But there was a greater price for that. And that was that my true greatness was laying dormant. And that is my gift, to be able to help former foster youth and entrepreneurs discover their worth and step into it on a greater level. So I had to recognize my true greatness to be able to step into it so I could say no. So this all goes hand in hand. Walk us through, you know, as we're kind of wrapping up this section here, on how you've already got everything you need.
Yeah, this is the biggest one of why people get stuck, is that they don't feel that they're good enough yet. I'm not there yet. Oh, when I get to this place, that's when, boy, everything's going to kick off. Like I'm going to do soon as I do this, soon as I make a little bit more money, or soon as I take this class, or as soon as I get a little further along, as soon as what they're doing is they don't feel like they're adequate at their current state. So they're banking on this future position, this future environment, that's where they will be empowered and enabled to then act. What they don't realize is that you are great right now. You have everything you need right now to move this forward. Don't get stuck in this quicksand of, not yet. I'm not there yet. I will be, but I'm not yet. No. You are right now. You are fully capable. You are fully great. You were built in an image of something so great, so big, that you can do this right now. And all it requires is you to just ask your simple question: what can I do right now with what I have to move this forward? Not making what can I do to make this perfect? It's not going to be perfect. What can I do right now with what I have? For instance, I wanted to make videos for a long time, and I didn't have the fancy camera. I didn't know the video editing software. I didn't have, lighting and everything. And I was waiting for this future endeavor. I can't make these videos until once I get all the equipment, once I take a few classes, once I learn all this stuff, then I'm going to move my ambition forward. And someone spoke this word into me. So powerful. Like, you already have everything you need. How can you move it forward? And I was like, well, when I think of it that way, if I had to move it forward today, I would pull out my camera phone, I would go sit by a window, and I would just shoot a video and post it, right? That day I posted a video, and that started my entire journey of everything I'm doing, because I just embraced this concept. You already have everything you need. What can you do with what you already have right now to move forward? Recognize your true greatness and take that action today with what you have.
This is so powerful, really, what you're talking about. As a person who's done video coaching for the last 5 years, 6 years, I have heard, I'm first of all, let me say, I'm so tired of people who would hire me for coaching month after month after month and then never make a video. I was like, you're wasting my time and your money, or both, right? It's like, this is just driving me crazy. You need to go just do it. Like, stop hiring a coach and just make a video. Like, right now, let's pull out the cell phone, and you don't even have to go live, folks. If you're worried and you want to make videos like Jarvis just described, so many people of you out there, entrepreneurs, are saying, I want to make videos, and you're in the exact same situation, but I need to have the class and the technology and know-how. I want you to pull out your phone right now, put it into video, and just pull it out like this, and then do a quick 30-second video of yourself, and then watch it on mute. That's how 80% of people are going to watch it on Facebook, folks. It's on mute. So make sure you look good on mute and then post it. You don't have to do time after time, retake after retake, back and forth, the videographer. Those days are gone. I had clients pay $12,000 for a 60-second video. That is not where it's at coming into 2020. People are craving authenticity. They're dying for it. So your video where your lighting's not quite right and you're kind of holding it a little, and you don't really know what you're going to say and you're kind of stumbling, That's what people are craving. They don't want a perfect video. They're going to tune it out and believe you're trying to sell to them. But if you could just be real and raw and true, then that's how you're going to convert. And so I think that's a perfect segue as we transition here into being able to bring it into the business here. Anything you want to add before we transition to the business side?
No, you touched on it quite perfectly. Just know that everything that you're going to manifest, everything that your grand output in life, it starts with you. It starts with, it's not in any external environment. It's not anyone else's fault. It's all right here. And when you can fully digest that, knowing that it starts with me and that everything comes from me, I own my own destiny. When you fully embrace that mindset, it's not anyone else's fault. It's not your environment's fault. Whatever you don't do is your fault. And so now you got that commitment to yourself. When you're able to fully make that commitment to yourself, you can get out of your own way to start making progress.
Yeah. And as entrepreneurs, we need to hear that message. So often there's all these other reasons out there, right? One of my favorite things I love to say from stage is taking action is easy when you know what to do, right? And that's Captain Obvious reporting to duty, right? We all know that when you give me a cheat sheet of exact bullet points, or I've been trained on this because I've done it 100 times, you're going to move forward with it, right? But when it's new and it's scary, all of a sudden you've got all these reasons and excuses and self-judgment and labeling things you're talking about come up, and you stop making progress, right? So as entrepreneurs, we just need to hear that you have everything within you right now, that you are capable, and that at the end of the day, if you don't do it, it's your own fault. It's not anybody else's, or Google algorithm changes, or the Facebook scandal, or it's not about the fact your lighting didn't come in, or what. It's your own fault at the end of the day. And you know what? I'm finishing up my book, Grit and Gratitude, but my next one's going to be called You Matter. Because you matter as you are right now, and your purpose matters. And again, if you don't step into what your purpose is on this earth, it is your own fault. And you're going to wind up burnt out, wrung out, irritable, and just so undigested in this world. Like you just feel raw and chewed out. Chances are, if you feel raw and chewed out and wrung out and burn out because you don't have the self-love in place, it's because you haven't realized that you matter. You're here for a purpose, and stepped into your greatness and held yourself accountable. So again, that's what Jarvis does all day long. I'm kind of preaching to the choir here, Jarvis, because that is his gift. This is what he's instilled in me as I've been with his morning program for well over a year. Okay. So with that, I want to transition over to some of the 7 ways to be able to be you and gain lasting influence online. So,
because this is where the rubber meets the road, right?
Yeah.
Like once you kind of got yourself in check, like how does that then manifest?
Yes.
It manifests in every area of your life. When you've kind of made the investment in yourself, it shows up in your relationships with your friends and family. It shows up in your health and fitness. It will show up in your business as well. So, Krystal, kind of walk us through how this permeates into your business success.
No, this is so true. Like I joked about it in the beginning, but look, I'm having a great week this week at work. I'm also having a great week in my marriage. Yesterday was my wedding anniversary, right? So, and I was super happy about my wedding anniversary. Thank you. And maybe that's why I had a great week at work. Look, this goes hand in hand. So you got to love yourself and step into that. But what a lot of people are missing is how to actually apply it, right? So as a business owner and entrepreneur, I've stood on stages, been blessed to speak for, California Association of Realtors. I worked with Orange County Association of Realtors, San Diego Association of Realtors. I've been able to speak with national lease and sales conferences. I've been able to work with, the National Talent Development. So all these different companies have hired me to teach them how to be able to get seen online, because people are just stalling out. And like I said, taking action is easy when you know what to do. So in this case, I want you to be able to take action and know exactly what to do to be able to show that self-love online. And the first thing you need to do is you need to stop trying to be everything to everyone. Look, this is my serious face, okay? You need to start paying attention, because ain't nothing as important as you being you online. We just spent this whole 30 minutes talking about how to have self-love on yourself. And if you don't see how that transitions to stop being everything to everyone, I can't help you, okay? You need to really own that you matter, that you're having a purpose in this world, that your business has a unique value proposition, that you have a niche, you have a specific problem you're solving. And that's what today's about. is how do you do that and show that online? So the first step is you need to show your most profitable product or service. Okay. Real estate agents, I love you. Okay. You're out there and you're saying, look, my bread and butter is first time home buyers, but my real profitable service are these people in La Mesa who are tired of yard work and want to sell that house and get into a small condo downtown, right? And you're going to have a double-ended deal. You're going to make 5 times as much and spend 1/10 of the time with that client compared to a first time home buyer. In that case, stop marketing yourself to first-time home buyers. If you're out there and you're a construction company and you're saying, look, I make all my most money on a remodel, but I get stuck in new construction, then stop marketing yourself to new construction. It is simple. Apply the Pareto's principle to your business and figure out what's driving 80% of your sales, right? So this is step 1. Be honest with yourself. Don't say, well, I want to work with the person who's doing the double-ended deal, but it's really the first-time home buyer that I always get. They just fall into my lap. Well, that tells me you got plenty of referrals of those coming in. Stop. You're not going to cut them off and disinterest them, but go after the product or service that's driving your business. Isn't this hard for entrepreneurs, Jarvis?
Yeah, this goes back to setting boundaries, right? Set that vision. Set that vision of who you want to be, right? Project who you want to be. I want to be this, right?
Yeah.
And then you create boundaries that, okay, in order to be that, I have to be hyper focused and really define myself in that area. And that means I can't necessarily take on all these other projects or clients that will derail me from where I'm headed, right? So being very clear on that vision and then set those boundaries, because that's going to really empower you to manifest that vision.
Yeah, you just hit the nail on the head, right? Because when you're clear on that vision for your business, you know where you create the most value, right? If you're saying, well, I'm out here and I'm a fitness coach and I work with, fitness models and and you got like 4 or 5 categories of people you work with, one of which is people who just had a baby. And you specialize in helping them because I guess there's some like abdominal muscle problems where they like pop out and if you're not careful right after you have a baby, I learned. So I don't know, but I learned. But in that case, if that's your passion and that's where you really create the greatest value is working with people who just had a baby, then stop marketing yourself to the fitness models. Again, really get clear on what's driving your product or service and what's the biggest value you bring to that client. So that's step 2 is really say, okay, if I'm going to go after double-ended deals because I specialize in helping you sell your house for top dollar while purchasing your next home. That's a unique selling proposition. And then identify your ideal client. Now, at this point, this is where I want you to really stop being hypothetical. People drive me crazy when they're like, I really like, these type of clients, but there's always this type of client. And then there's that type of, no. And no. The way you get out of that box is you think of a person you worked with. Again, we already identified your most profitable product or service. Hopefully you write this stuff down, right? Hit me up. I'll send you the slides. But you write down your profitable product. You know how you help them. Now think of a client that you've helped that actually needed your service, that you want 10 more just like. I always go for Sally. You want 10 Sallys, right? Special shout out to Emily with Bond Hair Bar. Okay. Love Emily. I'll take 10 more Emilys any day of the week. Right. So write down that name and say, that is who I want to work with. And then solidify how you look online. So the first 3 kind of go hand in hand and this transitions away. But before we jump in the branding guidelines, anything you want to add so far?
No, this number 3 is one of the hardest because people don't want to leave money on the table. They don't want to turn people away. So they're naturally, they want to appeal to everyone because they want as much business as possible. And what they don't realize is they're diluting their brand.
Yeah.
And this kind of goes down to your 4th point of the branding guidelines. But when you try to appeal to everyone, you end up appealing to no one.
Yes.
You have to really come across strong and as an expert in one thing. And you get more. It's better to have a few people that see you as an expert in that thing, because then you can demand a higher price point.
Yep.
You can really talk directly to them as opposed to presenting yourself as a generalist who's not an expert in anything. And then no one really wants to seek you out if you don't have something that you're an expert in. So you have to present yourself as an expert in something, not, yeah, I'm just good at everything, because people seek experts. They don't seek out people that's just good at everything.
Yeah, and isn't that the truth, right? So it's like you got to get your car fixed. Are you just going to go to like the general mechanic, or if you drive a Benz, are you going to go to the Benz dealer? And if you have a Toyota, you're going to go to the Toyota dealer, right?
Right.
So if you got to get your teeth fixed, and let's say you need a root canal, are you going to go to a general dentist? Maybe you are if they've been servicing you for 20 years. But if you got a real problem tooth, you're going to look up somebody who's specific in that type of problem tooth, right? If you got a back problem,
Right.
are you going to go to a general back or a general doctor, a general internal medicine, or are you going to go to the person specializing in spinal regenerative therapy? I don't know, right? So that
Right.
people seek out experts, and especially in today's age, this selling cycle, everybody can get the information they need. They think they're an expert because of Google Academy or YouTube Academy, right? They've trained themselves online. So they are looking for somebody who's an expert in their problem. So be an expert, own your niche. Yeah, let's sum up 1 through 3 and just say, own your niche, dude. Own it,
Yeah.
own it, own it. Let that sink in. And
Yeah.
once you own it, get clear on how you want to look online. Don't be sloppy and have your white logo with the black background as your profile photo on Facebook, but then I go to your website and it's the black logo with the white background. You know what I mean? Be consistent, because those little changes break down the trust in your mind, in the subconscious mind of your buyer. They start to think, well, I don't know if I really trust this person, based on the fact that your logo is white on black instead of black on white, right? You got to be real with this and be consistent. So use the same logo. If it's a horizontal one, I used to hate it when I was in social media and I was going to make you images and you're going to send me 5 logos and you say, use whichever one. No, this is my serious face. This is my finger wag and my serious face. That is not what you're allowed to do. You say, here is the exact logo I use. I use the square version with the white on black. I know your graphic designer sent you 6 versions. You need to pick the one that's right for your business and use it consistently on your social, on your flyers, on your website. Be intentional with the type of fonts you use. What color codes are you using on your website? Use that on social. Be really intentional. It makes you look really professional. Even if you're moms and pops, look intentional. And then this is kind of aligning like what I was just talking about here. So again, you want to be really intentional so that your Facebook cover photo looks like your website, right? You want to really make sure that your website is actually talking about this most profitable product or service. So this is all connected when you're online, and you want to make sure that if you're, again, I love my real estate agents. If you're a real estate agent who wants this double-ended deal in La Mesa, but you're specializing in homeowners, on your website, you need to have a case study or a story or FAQs about person who are going after the double-ended deal and really speaking to that audience. If you want to have a splash page and an extra bonus page for first-time home buyers, go for it. But the core, you need to bring this back to your core product or service so that your website looks like your social and it talks about your ideal client and product. What do you got to say about that, Jarvis?
Yeah, it's all about building trust and credibility. So everything that's outward facing, your whole digital presence is one of your tools in your tool belt to help you establish trust and credibility with your ideal client. And if you are inconsistent, it's kind of like, your people make snap decisions based on very surface level things, unfortunately, just like in dating, within the first 5 seconds if you like this person or not, if you want to continue, or if you're attracted to this person. Same thing with your business. Some
Yeah.
people make very snap decisions, and it could be something as small as your inconsistencies, or you get a janky website that looks like it was built on Microsoft framework, iframes, right? Like, people make decisions based on that. Like, I don't trust you because you haven't invested in your website. Same about your brand. So having that consistency with your brand builds the trust and credibility to get you past that first layer of people's filter. You don't want to get filtered out of that first layer.
Yeah, so well said. The people have so many options nowadays, right? Even if you're looking for that back specialist because your back's hurting, you're going to put it in Google and come, especially if you're in San Diego, you've got 15 to 30 options, right? So you want to be really, really intentional about owning your niche, building that credibility, speaking specifically to your most profitable product or service, and making sure that you are building trust by having an all match. I already gave you this one earlier, but again, once you solidify what you want your brand to look like in terms of logos, colors, and fonts, you need to make sure you put that on your social as well as your website, as well as your flyers or anything else you're producing. And you need to make sure that your website actually speaks again to that ideal client. And then lastly, once you get all of this, this is really the core presence here. And once you build up this understanding of who your ideal client is, why they need you, somebody you've worked with and the specific needs they've had, you know what you want your brand to look like. Your website is speaking the visual language of your brand, it's speaking to your ideal client, and so is your social. The next step is to pour some gasoline on that. That's how when you start driving ads and getting folks to it and driving and getting business and traffic off of it. That's when you stop having a postcard of a website and you start having a lead generator. That's the next step. Because what happens if you pour some gasoline on a janky website? What happens, Jarvis?
Nothing.
Nothing. Oh, and Zuckerberg's getting rich and you're not getting clients. That's what's going to happen if you have a janky website and you run Facebook ads to it. So
people are so afraid of this. They're afraid of spending money, but you have to deconstruct your mindset of looking at advertising as spending money, because it's only spending when it doesn't go anywhere. It's not spending money if it's making you money, right? It's kind of like an asset that appreciates. It's not your ad spend is not a depreciating asset. It's an appreciating asset, meaning it in turn, there's a return on that. It makes you money. Yeah. So I think when you look at ad spend and things like that, people don't realize that you have to make that investment in yourself and your business because there's a return on it. And in turn, it accelerates your growth. That's kind of what we've been talking about before. You got to make sure you invest in yourself because there's a return on that. Same with your business. There's a return on the money that you invest into it, and advertising is a part of it.
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head. I couldn't have said that better. You know, I love how you really said this. If it's not making you money, then fire it and hire something that will make you money. There are so many tips and tricks out there. You could have Facebook ads, you could do Instagram ads, you could do YouTube ads, you name it. There are so many things you can do that's going to get you in front of people. You could pay for Google, you could do SEO. There's inbound versus outbound. That's my specialty, especially working here with Town Square Media. Before I was just social media. Now I've got tools, so many tools you can't even imagine. Let me tell you this, you can geo-target your competitors. This is some hotness. So if you're like, I know these people, every time they go there are going to overpay what they would get from me, and I'm going to provide better value. You can actually put a geo fence around their business. So when somebody walks into that business, it pops up on a notification and says, look, stop overpaying and get 10% off with my business. Or for instance, we love the U Club downtown San Diego, right? If you can actually geo fence the University Club downtown San Diego, where you know affluent business owners go, and have your ad pop up on their phone and say, welcome to the U Club. Looks like you know good style. Check out our clothing line, or whatever it is. You can actually geo-fence that and then track your results and fine-tune your strategy. So that's one of like 20 tactics that I have. But the bottom line is there's so many creative ways to get you in front of your ideal clients. So if you're out there and you've already set up your website, you know your ideal client, you've got your social on point, it's time to pour some gasoline on it, and it's an appreciating asset.
And if you guys can't tell, Krystal is an expert in this area. Like we were saying before, become an expert at something, zero in and present yourself as an expert on something. I strongly advise or encourage, seek Krystal out for her expertise in this. If you are shy about how to get your name out and using advertising to grow your business, find someone else who knows more than you do. And Krystal is definitely one of those people.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I'm just so excited with the testimonials and the case studies and numbers and metrics I can provide. I mean, I've got it down to like, I can record not only how many people click on your website from an ad, but I can record the phone calls when they call off that ad. I mean, boy, I've got so many tools in my toolbox. I got my big guns blazing, folks. So if you're ready to take your business to the next level, hit me up. If you need help with getting your website right and your social right, hit me up. I've got you. So with that, let's go ahead and tell them, because maybe they're just starting out, right? Everybody's got a journey. And there's some entrepreneur's journey. Sometimes you just need to hear it from other people, what they're going through, so you can normalize it and get the tools and tricks to be able to push through it. And that's what I love about the Accelerated Growth Club, is like-minded individuals on fire to grow their business, coming together. Tell them about the next Accelerated Growth Club.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, half the battle is linking up with the tribe, right? The community is so important. So one of the events that I run, and Krystal, we used to co-facilitate together, Accelerated Growth Club, first Monday of every month in San Diego, downtown San Diego. We get together, high achievers, entrepreneurs, business owners. It's just a space that we create to bring together all this good energy so people can feed off each other, meet new people, gain some new tools and resources that's going to help fuel them and their business. And so this next one coming up in October 7th, is going to be highlighting the entrepreneurial journey. So we're going to have our guest, speaker Jesse Wright, gone on and to be a Hall of Fame sales rep for Cutco, and kind of built that business from scratch. And then she went off and founded the San Diego division of a magazine and built that up and is having huge success with it. So we're going to vibe and talk about the entrepreneurial journey, all the bumps and bruises, the lessons learned, the tips and tricks to try to help make that journey smoother. And so anyone that's got kind of the entrepreneurial spirit, and not just building the next Coca-Cola, if you are in a position where you're a contractor, or individual contributor, or 1099, you are an entrepreneur. You are running your own business. You are your business. So in essence, everyone is an entrepreneur when you look at it that way. Everyone, you're building your own brand online and what have you. Everyone has a brand presence. Everyone is an entrepreneur. So how do you smooth out the bumps along that journey? So that's going to be on October 7th at the Downtown Library in
So don't miss it. This is a big event, dude. If you're in San Diego, you need to be there. Trust me, this is breakthrough events. People screaming in the aisles, having life transformation. That's what this is about. You need to come and release those demons and be able to figure out who you are by getting around like-minded individuals. The content's on point, the talent is on point, and the people is where it's at. So you need to be there. Make sure you mark your calendar. October 7th, 5 to 7 p.m. Be there. And then we've got one more. Can we talk about the next and not final, but the next upcoming webinar? It is actually going to be on Wednesday, October 9th. Can you tell them why somebody should show up? And I'm going to go ahead and put the title up there too.
Yeah, if you found value in this, we're doing this every month. This is we want to just continue to pour into your dream, your vision, your business. And we're going to do this again next month. So join us. 11:30 a.m. That's Pacific Standard Time. Right here on YouTube, and we're going to again just fuel you and your vision and how to grow.
Oh my goodness! Look at this. I just put the wrong name here. Look, I got a couple of options.
Well, we'll send.
So yeah, I'm going to give you the actual title here coming up. I apologize, I don't have it on my fingertips. Excuse me. 6 lies we tell ourselves is what it's called. 6 lies we tell ourselves about our online presence. And this is going to be piggyback on the actual AGC event. And that is going to be, of course, the entrepreneur's journey. So as an entrepreneur, I can't tell you enough. I remember at least once a quarter as I drifted off to sleep, it was like, I should really Google myself and see what it says, right? And you hope you wake up and do it, but it's something that you don't know what's out there. So we're going to be talking about the entrepreneur's journey, bringing it home, teaching you what we got from that, and then helping you how to overcome what you look like online. 6 lies we tell ourselves about our online presence. You don't want to miss it.
Oh yeah, so that's coming up for sure. Yeah, and I would encourage you, none of this means anything unless you do something with it. We've kind of helped light a little bit of a fire, but oftentimes that's not enough. Oftentimes you need some sort of guidance, some sort of accountability that's actually going to take this little bit of inspiration and turn it into action.
Yes.
Into something that you're actually going to do.
Yes.
We've got a couple ways that you can go a little bit deeper. If you want to talk a little bit more, you need some clarity. You kind of have some a general idea that you want more than where you currently are. Maybe you don't know how to get there. Maybe there's some things internally you got to get over. You can reach out to me and then we can talk through it and kind of get some clarity on what that vision looks like, and then put together an action plan of how you can get there. And so that's Jarvis at the Morning Hero. If you want to do this goal assessment, definitely I love speaking with people and kind of kicking them in gear.
Yeah, and I can't tell you enough, you guys. I know I'm a little peppy, right? A little silly, a little out there. But I'm telling you, this man right here has helped me be able to break through on things that I've been talking about for years. Since I was a child, I've said that I wanted to be an author and write books, but I hadn't actually wrote one single page until I joined his morning accountability program. But it was literally within one meeting of talking to him that he inspired me to be able to take action. So I hadn't even realized this was this burning goal and desire within me until I was reminded of it. Jarvis has this way of helping look into you and figure out what makes you unique and inspire you to really reach your true potential, and not do what other people think you should be doing, but really listen to what is your purpose on this earth and recognize your true gifts. So I'm telling you, just one meeting with him, you'll be blown away by the clarity you have and really discovering your potential. So I can't emphasize enough how important that is. Jarvis has made such an impact in my life. So thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here with you. And I want to inspire you to take that first step. What do you got to lose? It's a free goal assessment. Come on. If you're not doing it, you're like, you accept being mediocre. Just accept that, and if you want to be on fire and achieve your greatness, then hit them up. Those are your options: mediocreness or greatness. You choose.
That's right.
And if you're out there, absolutely, you guys. And if you're out there and you're like, look, I don't even know kind of where I'm at or where to start with my business aspect or my marketing. I don't know if I'm showing up on, for searches. I don't know if I'm getting found online. I'm not really getting enough calls, or business is slowing down, or I don't know if I need to do better on social, or I don't know if I'm really mastering this. If you've got questions about your business and kind of how you measure up or where your gaps are, I've got a free online business assessment tool that we run here through Town Square Media. It's like a 15 to 17 page report. Like, this is no joke, you guys. So I'll work with you. I just need your business name, your name, and your phone number and email. I'll put together this report and actually give you my free consultation as well and run through that report with you. So it's going to really show you some incredible information on your business, and I'll give you some actual tips and insights on what you can do to overcome that, so that you start getting direct calls from the people who you want to work with, your ideal client. Boy, this has been fun, Jarvis.
It was a blast. Can't wait to do it again.
October 9th, folks. Don't miss it. You'll want to be here. We're going to be here at 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And for those of you in Central Time, that's 1 o'clock, and East Coast Time, that's 2 o'clock. We're going national, Jarvis. We're taking over the nation. What do you say?
Let's do it.
Let's reach our potential. So with that, again, Jarvis, the morning hero, this man right here is where it's at. Make sure you get on his calendar. I thank you guys for watching, and I want to help inspire you to reach your true potential. You matter. You matter. Just keep telling yourself that. You matter. You matter, because guess what? You do matter. You're here for a purpose, and it's time to achieve your true greatness. So thank you again, Jarvis. It's been a freaking blast. We're coming at you Wednesday, the 9th, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
See you guys next time.
Ciao.
Bye.
This is my going out dance, folks. I see you.